Hello aspirants, welcome to Grace IAS. So we had come with another yet new series of UPSC guidance. We have already done UPSC general orientation session in which we have guided the aspirants regarding the pattern of UPSC examinations, what study material to study, what is the preparation strategy and all. So in today we will be starting with GS paper 1 strategy. So your GS paper 1 that deals with Indian heritage, culture, history, geography of the India and world, and society. Right? So these are the ingredients of GS paper 1. This is from the mains perspective. The syllabus is given from the mains perspective in GS paper 1. But in the today's class, we'll also be looking from the mains as well as the prelims perspective. So in the today class, I'll be dealing with heritage, Indian heritage, culture, history. These sections I'll be dealing today from the prelims perspective and mains perspective. Though we will discuss an overview of GS paper 1, that is in your mains, that deals with your history, art and culture, geography and society. There are 4 sections: history, art and culture, geography and society. So GS paper 4 deals with these four subjects. If you club together history and art culture, it's 1, geography 2, society 3. So 3 topics are there in your GS paper 1. Now we are going to deal simultaneously from the prelims perspective as well as mains perspective, because there is a lot of overlapping between prelims and mains. The topics or the subjects there is overlapping, right? So we will be looking from the prelims and mains perspective, and in today's session, we are going to divide this session in 2 parts. General studies strategy for paper 1, we are going to divide into 2 parts. Today, I'll be dealing with the general what are the ingredients in your mains for GS paper 1, and then I will concentrate prelims and mains perspective for the history section. Okay? I hope you got the clarity. GS paper 1 has given a more detailed syllabus. If you have gone through the prelim syllabus, the syllabus is very, very brief. You will not be able to understand exactly what you have to study. But when you look into the main syllabus, which is also overlapping with the prelims syllabus, you'll get to know what you have to study, right? And also we will segregate that what are the things which comes only in the mains, right? And then I will be discussing more particularly today on history section from the prelims and mains perspective, and we'll also look some few questions of prelims and mains of history, UPSC history, prelims and mains questions, so that you will get an idea what kind of questions are coming. We'll discuss the source also from where you have to study, what are the study material for history, right? I hope you got the clarity what we are going to deal in today's session. So the history you can see, we are discussing first the syllabus. We'll in brief we'll discuss the entire main syllabus, and then we'll focus history from mains and prelims perspective. So look at this: Indian culture, salient aspect of art forms, literature, architecture, ancient to modern times. Then you have the modern history, basically art and culture section, from ancient to modern times, the various art and culture sections, in which questions like the question can come from Bhakti movement, which was prevalent during the medieval period, or you can say Dravida or North Indian Sikhara style of temple architecture, right? Sikhara or Dravida style of temple architecture. Then it could be dance forms, the various classical, folk dance, folk music. Those are the questions which it will be coming in your art and culture, right? Modern theater, literature, ancient to modern period. So such type of topic will be covered in the art and culture. Modern history, they have mentioned from middle of 18th century until present. So in your history, it is, the period is being divided, 1757, because it is middle of 18th century with the Battle of Plassey, when the British got hold over India, right? So that is a kind of an watershed or dividing period when the British got hold over India, 1757 till 1947, till independence, right? These are part of your modern history. Then your post-independent, 1947 till present. This will be part of your post-independent history. I hope you got the clarity. So this sections cover from 1757 till 1947 till independence, and then 1947 till present, after independence. What development has happened in India? Historical development like emergency, Bhutan movement, all kind of development after 1947 till present. That will be part of your post-independent history, right? 1757 to 1947, so you're with the Battle of Plassey, when the British got the hold over India, and after that, whatever the development has taken place in India, your freedom movement, freedom struggle, Renaissance, all will come during this period, 1757 till 1947. After 1947 till present, after independence, whatever the development has taken place, that will the question will be coming from that section. Yes, you got the point? Before independence, that is 1757 till 1947, then 1947 till present. So we have divided into two sections. This topic will be divided into two sections. Then in freedom struggle, what type of question or what type of topic you are supposed to study, like various stages and important contributors and contribution in freedom struggle, like various stages. You can say 1857, when the first war of independence in India took place, and after that the national movement started with the establishment of Indian National Congress in 1885, and thereby when the Gandhi entered the national movement scene, the non-cooperation movement, civil disobedience, all you will be studying during this period. So various stages, and also important contributor like the freedom fighters and all, Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, Sardar Patel, Subhash Chandra Bose, their contribution you will be studying, right? That is what you have to study. Then post-independence, that is 1947 till present. So whatever the historical development has taken place, like emergency in 1775, and before that, you know, Nehru, the prime ministers, and then the general elections, the first general elections, how the election started in India, and then the various policies and programs, the major events like Bhutan movement, the various social reforms movement like abolition of Jamindari, land reforms, emergency period, all this you will be studying under this section, post-independence part, right? Then history of world. Now this section is common. Particularly this section, you can say it is common prelims and mains. So your art and culture section, modern history, freedom struggle, and even some question from post-independence. Even some question from post-independence also they can ask. So these are what in your prelims as well as mains. Okay. Now this is exclusively in mains. This is exclusively in mains. This part is common to pre and mains. Can you understand here? Right? This section, the art and culture, modern history, freedom struggle movement, post-independent, these are common from the prelims point of view as well as mains point of view. Like people say that post-independent is only in mains. But if you look at the prelims question, they had also asked a few questions from post-independent history. Like this year itself, they had asked regarding the political parties and founder, which took place after independence. So you can say even some questions from post-independence also they'll be asking in your pre. This is something world history. History of world is exclusively for mains. In prelims, you won't be finding the questions from the world history. Okay? I hope you got the clarity. Society. Now this is something which is exclusively for your mains. This topic is exclusively for your mains, but nevertheless, it also helps in prelims. As I have already mentioned in the earlier session that there should not be exclusive preparation, it should be inclusive, prelims come mains. Lot of idea what we prepare for mains is also useful for your prelims, so don't segregate it. Though the questions generally from society will be coming, these topics will be coming only in your mains. But the concept like poverty, development, issues of globalizations, they can also helpful in solving some prelims question. Solving the prelims question. It will be helpful for you. So do study well the society before you write your prelims. It's not like after clearing the prelims you will be studying your mains syllabus. Don't do that. Because the idea of society can also be helpful, may be helpful in solving some prelims questions. So some indirect question can come from this section as well in your prelims. Fine. Otherwise, it is mains topic. Geography. So geography is again common to both prelims and mains. Salient features of world's physical geography, distributions of key natural resources, factors responsible for primary, secondary and tertiary sector industries in the various parts of the world including India, important geophysical phenomena like earthquake, tsunami, cyclone, volcanic activity, geographical features, locations and critical geographical features including water bodies, ice caps, flora and fauna. So this entire topic is common to your prelims and mains in geography, right? So I have spoken, right, in history there are certain section like world history which is exclusively for your mains, rest other is common, both prelims and mains. Society, as I told you, it is kind of an exclusive for mains, but the idea what you study in society will be helpful in solving some prelims questions. So do study, before you prepare for the prelims, you must have studied society or you must have prepared for your mains. And this geography, it is common in your prelims and mains. Now syllabus for prelims, you see, look at the syllabus of prelims, it's they had given very kind of brief manner. As today I will concentrate on the history, so look at the history prelim syllabus. They have mentioned just this, right? History of India and national movement. So the concentration is on India and the concentration is on India. The concentration is on India, right? Not world, not world. Whereas in geography, you can see Indian and world geography they had mentioned. But in prelims, when we are talking about history, they have mentioned only about the Indian history, not about the world history. So have a clarity that exactly what portion is your in prelims and what in your mains, because it will help full in revision, right? I'm not saying that you shouldn't study world history before you write your prelims. You must study, as I emphasize that you must be thoroughly prepared for your mains before you take your attempt for your prelims. But for revision exclusively for prelims, you may overlook the world history. Because the questions from world history will not be coming. It is from history of India and Indian national movement. So basically history of India, ancient history and ancient India, medieval India and modern India. Modern India. And even some questions from post-independent history. Like this, as I told you, this time they had asked one question, that is the political formation of the various political parties and the founder, which was which we study after the post-independent. That is basically the Swatantrata Party and all. It all happened after the Jan Sangh, which is now a BJP. Who was the founder. So all these development took place after independence. So in prelims they have asked about that question from more post-independent history. But majorly the question will concentrate ancient, medieval, modern. These are the three main sections from where the question in prelims will be coming. Ancient India, medieval India and modern India. Right? Whereas in mains we have seen one section that is art and culture, isn't it? In mains they have not mentioned about ancient, medieval also, they had mentioned about the art and culture. So, but when you study ancient and medieval history for your prelims, lot of things you will also be doing about art and culture. Like from ancient and medieval history, you will be covering lot of part of art and culture in during ancient period and medieval period. That's right. So in mains they will be asking not the ancient history, medieval history questions, but from the art and culture of ancient, of medieval and of modern history. Right. So that is what little bit of segregation. Their concentration in mains is only art and culture. Whereas in prelims, they will be asking not only from the point of art and culture, from ancient and medieval history, but also from the administrative angle. Any discovery, administration, how Gupta administration was there, how Mauryan administrations were there, dynasty, king, right? So a lot of factual things will also be there when it comes to prelims. And they can also ask the question from the art and culture sections like Dravidian style of temple, Nagara style of temple, various dance forms, isn't it? So which is there in your prelims and mains. The only difference is that in mains they concentrate on the art and culture aspect only, not on the administrative angle. So in mains what you have to study? Art and culture of ancient and medieval history. But when it comes to prelims, what you have to study? The entire aspect along with art and culture. Like you'll have to study about the dynasties, the king, their chronological orders and administration, all this, many factual things, dates also. So a lot of things you'll have to study in your prelims, right? So I hope you understood. In prelims it is entire ancient history, entire medieval, entire modern history, right? In mains only art and culture section they had asked, isn't it? They had mentioned art and culture. So that is what you have to keep in your mind, right? So history of India, Indian national movement, excluding the world history, this is what the area you have to study in your history, entire Indian history, ancient, medieval, modern. And even few questions could be asked from the post-independent history. So if you would have prepared for your mains, you would be easily able to answer if any such questions come, like in 2024 they had asked. So now let's look into the weightage given to history. See, history is a very, very important topic, extremely important topic for your prelims and extremely important topic for your mains. And comparatively it is lengthy also in comparison to the other subject. History is comparatively lengthy because, you know, lot of subsection, ancient, medieval, and modern history, post-independent history, world history. So, of course, it is the, you can say, the vast coverage you have to give to the history. And it's very important for your prelims and mains. So, in prelims, you see the weightage is every year somewhere, you can say, some 17 to 20 questions are being asked. Some 17 to 20 questions are being asked on an average every year from history. And that can be divided into, these questions can be divided into ancient history, medieval history and modern history. So sometimes like questions will be more from ancient history, sometimes more from the modern history, and sometimes they do ask some more questions from medieval history. Otherwise, mostly it is equitable generally, ancient, modern and medieval. But sometimes they ask few questions in medieval history, sometimes. So it can be skewed. Some year they ask lot of questions from the ancient history only. Maybe just one question they would ask from medieval history and maybe 2-3 questions from the modern history. So ancient and modern is comparatively more, the weightage is more, but you don't know if they, sometimes they had asked 4-5 questions from the medieval history as well. So don't overlook any subsection. You have to complete all the section. Don't overlook. Many people or many candidates, they overlook the medieval history. But in fact, those questions, those who have really studied well the medieval history, those 4 to 5 questions which would be coming from medieval history, sometime it may be 1 or 2 questions also, we don't know, but sometimes they give 5 to 6 questions also they had asked from medieval history some particular year. So obviously that particular year, if somebody have studied, done a proper preparation of entire history and somebody has overlooked medieval history, then it could be a problem, isn't it? So that's the reason we recommend that don't leave any aspect of your syllabus. Of course, you give more focus considering the weightage, but don't overlook at all. Don't overlook at all any topic. So this is what the weightage you can see. It is, why it is 15 to 17, why not exactly either 15 or 17? Because some question in history also overlaps with polity. So few people they put it in the polity, few people they may put those question in history. Like for example, regarding Government of India Act 1935. So some people they do put in the polity also. Or the Constituent Assembly, the making of constitution. Mostly it is in polity, but sometimes some historical touch will be there. So sometimes these type of questions, because evolutions in the evolution of the Indian constitutions, we do study Government of India Act 1935, 1919 and all. And these topic can also be put in the history. So that's why it varies. It varies, right? So somewhere you can say around 17 to 20 on an average every year, the questions will be coming from history. Okay. And also I had talked about the distribution, ancient, medieval, modern. Generally, general pattern is that a lot of questions come from ancient history and modern history. Maybe few questions from medieval history, but I also told you there are some years the UPSC has asked more number of questions from medieval history as well, right? So please don't overlook any topic. And of course, this section is considered to be a bit tougher in terms of the questions which being asked. The student, they do feel little tough while attempting history. So, but then with proper adequate preparation, if not all, majority of the question you will be able to solve. Majority of the question you will be able to solve if you have studied well and if you have followed proper source. So what I am going to concentrate over here is that there are a lot of books and material, huge number of books and material for history. As I told you, history is a very vast. But we will concentrate on those basics books, that if you study these basics books and revise it really well, you will be able to solve maximum number of question. Maximum number of question. Never ever go that, you know, one particular question come from this year, it has come from this particular book. Don't. Just for one question or two question, you can't read the entire book, isn't it? So, what should be, what the strategy you should follow? Minimum material, maximum revision. If any questions come from the books or material you have studied, you should not skip those questions, or you should not make those questions wrong, isn't it? That's what the motive is. It's not like you have to solve all the questions, isn't it? So if you're looking at the cutoff, you will see that out of 200 in general studies, the last year cutoff was 75, and this year cutoff would be somewhere maybe, you know, 90 plus minus 2 or 5. So definitely if the questions are tough, the cutoff has gone down, we have already seen, so don't worry. Do the doables. Do the doables. That's what in prelims or even in mains, always we should concentrate, do the doables. So these are the major source of material from where you should study. NCERT, very, very important, extremely important. So 6th to 10th, you can study the NCERT, the new one you can study. 11th, 12th, which from where the maximum question you will able to solve. The maximum number of question from ancient, medieval and even modern, I would say, you will be able to solve maximum number of question if you concentrate on these two books. These two books are very, very important. But you should study at least once or twice, 6th to 10th. Or you can, you know, later on you can make notes. What are the important things which are mentioned here, and what are the things which are, suppose which you have made this as a core book, this one as a core book. You have been reading and revising many times, 11th and 12th book, old NCERT. Now any particular topic which is not there in these two books, in these three books, but it is there in 6 to 10. So just you can add like a notes. Just make only notes of those topics, only make notes of those topics or information and add it to this book, right? So that at the end you don't have to study so many books. So you read at least 1, 6 to 10, and 11th and 12th you have to read maybe, you know, a good number of time, you have to revise it thoroughly. Good number of the questions in the prelims will be covered from these three books. In fact, it's a 3 book, ancient, medieval and modern. And after reading this book, 11th and 12th book thoroughly, again you read 6th to 10th once again. And then whatever the extra points or extra informations are there in 6th to 10th new book, which is not there in these class old book, 11th and 12th, add, you know, just make a notes of that and stick to your book. That's all. So what are these? Books 11th and 12th old NCERT? We'll just specify it. We'll specify. So you have the ancient history by R.S. Sharma. Medieval history, Satish Chandra, and modern history, Modern history by Bipin Chandra. Bipin Chandra. So good number of questions you will be able to solve if you read these 3 books, right? And I already told you 6th to 10th you can add the, you can make notes of those information, those idea which are not present in these 2 books. That's all. At the end, this 3 books should be your, this 3 book should be your core book for the prelims. And also if you read these books properly, your concepts will be clear, and that will also be useful for your mains answer writing. Right? Then for art and culture, again, like exclusively, this is, there are 3 books, but this book is more important, I would say, particularly from the prelims aspect. This book is more important, Introduction to the Indian Art, particularly for the prelims. For mains also, among these 3 books, I would say this is the most important, even for your mains, art and culture section. But still, these 2 books also you should read for your mains. These 2 books also you should read for your mains, and maybe some question you will be able to solve in your prelims also from these 2 books. But in comparison to these 3 books, which one is more important? This book is more important for art and culture section. Okay? I hope you got the clarity. 11th and 12th, ancient, modern and medieval overall. Then introduction to Indian art, 11th class, that more focus on the art and culture sections. That's useful for your mains and also for your prelims. These 2 books, after giving more focus, you have to give more focus to this. But I'm not saying that you overlook this. This also you study. But comparatively, this is more useful. Comparatively. I hope you got the clarity from where the maximum questions are coming, which book if you study more you will get more benefit, right? That's what I have discussed. So I have not just discussed what you have to study, but also discussed which books and materials are more important, from where you will be able to solve maximum number of questions if you read those books. And what should be your core book? So there are certain core books which you will have to revise several times, and then there are some peripheral books where you read 1 or 2 times and make some additional notes to your core book. Add those notes to your core books. Then spectrum. It's spectrum, it's more like, meant only for the civil services examinations, very crisp and all, like a summary kind of, and very good. This book is very good, modern history and post-independent. So very good for your prelims, and also I would say mains. Even you can write the mains answers also of modern history and post-independent history. And also you should look at the weightage given to each section, particularly in your in mains also. In mains also the different weightages are given. Like more questions are coming from art and culture and modern history. Few questions are coming from post-independent and world history. World history and post-independent history has comparatively much less weightage in your mains, right? When I say history, post-independent and world history in mains are comparatively less. They are asking very few questions. Some year they had not asked any question at all from the post-independent history. But more number of questions in mains will be coming from your modern history and art and culture. This 2 section has been more. Comparatively, world history and post-independent history, this is comparatively less. This is more number of questions coming here from here. In the mains, this is entire for mains. right? So please look at least 10 years paper, as I keep on emphasizing PYQ and PYQ, both for your prelims and mains. They will give you the exact, you will come to know the weightage, you will come to know what type of questions are being asked, how your preparation strategy should be and all. The PYQ is going to definitely give you a good direction. Right. So we have seen the spectrum that's important for your prelims and also for your mains, modern history and post-independent history. Then Story of Civilization by Arjun Dev. This NCERT book is very important for world history, which is there in your mains, isn't it? Which is there only in your mains. So this book you have to study only for your mains. Nicely they have covered all entire syllabus of world history. Then India's struggle for independence. Now these two books are quite bulky book, quite fat book. Now these two books can be used for enrichment purpose. India's struggle for independence and India after independence, Bipin Chandra. And this is only these two books you can study only for your means. That too for enrichment. First you have to cover those books which we have just discussed. If you have time, then you study these two books. These two books you can read like a novel. Good idea about the history you will be getting. Right, but you don't have to mug up. Like a story, you can, read it out nicely, and maybe whatever topic which are not covered in the spectrum part, of post-independent or modern history, but it's covered here. Only those area you can make notes and attach to that. That is what the strategy should be. That is what minimum book. At the end, you should have only one core book. Okay, for this subject, I will be studying this. For this subject, I will be studying this. 1 or 2 core book, not more than that. Extra, you can add it like a notes. Extra information, you can add it like a notes, right? Don't refer so many books during the last moment before your exam. You'll get confused. So keep it minimum book, right? So these two books, so as I suggested you only, these are good books, but if you don't have time, don't concentrate here. If you have time, enough time, then only you read. And reading also, it should be like a story and all. And you compare with the spectrum, okay, what are the topics not covered here? Those topics probably you can make notes and attach to your spectrum, right? And you'll get some more idea also, like in spectrum they have mentioned very brief and all. Here you will get more background and all. But again, these two books you cannot make your core book because they are very bulky, and the utility is also not so much. Particularly for prelims, it does not have the utility, I would say. For mains, for enrichment. I hope you got the clarity here till here. So we have discussed the syllabus of mains, and we have also discussed the syllabus of prelims, and in today's session we are more concentrating on history. So I have mentioned the prelim syllabus, the main syllabus of history, and also I have mentioned what all sources you have to study for history. Let's look into some questions so that you get an idea that what type of questions being asked. So you see, this question, this is from, if you can guess, this is from which section? It is from modern history. 2023 questions. So I have taken comparatively easier questions. As I said, history is an area which the students find bit more difficult to handle. But again, as I said you, if you read those core books nicely, properly, with good revision, maximum number of questions, suppose if 20 questions are coming, at least 14 to 15 questions you will be able to solve. आराम से. And in that, if you have solved 15 question, I guess 12 or 13 would be the correct also, if you read properly, nicely. Depending upon, somewhere they ask little bit more complex question, somewhere they ask comparatively easy questions also. That is also the thing. But again, you know, do the doables. If it is easy, it will be easy for everyone. If it is tough, it will be tough for everyone. But easy question, we should not make it wrong. That's what's a very important thing. Those who clear the prelims, they make it sure those questions are easy, which questions will be attempted by everyone and will be done correct by everyone. So those questions I should not make it wrong. That we have to keep in mind. So read the question very carefully and revise the core material. Which one of the following acts was the Governor General of Bengal designated as Governor General of India? So this is pretty very simple and very easy. Can you answer this question? No? Fresher? Okay. So this question, you see, it is whether regulating act, the regulating act, the Pitt's India Act, the Charter Act 1793, the Charter Act 1833. So what is the correct answer? The correct answer is D. This is a factual question, and it was 1833 when, with this charter, William Bentinck became the first Governor General of India. Before that, 1773 Act, Regulating Act 1773, the Regulating Act 1773 has made, 1773 has made Warren Hastings as the Governor General of Bengal. He was the Governor General of Bengal because they started their rule with Bengal, isn't it? The Battle of Plassey, capturing Bengal, and there they established their capital, and from there they started ruling, right? So main was the Bengal. Later on, their rule spread. They spread over India. By 1833, almost major part of India they started ruling. So this Governor General of Bengal had to be given a higher designation of Governor General of India because their spread increased. They went much beyond Bengal, covering almost entire India by 1833. So William Bentinck, he became the Governor General of India with 1833 Act, right? So this question is a very easy question, very easy question, but if you don't revise well, even this type of question you will make it wrong. Otherwise it is very easy. Nobody should make it wrong, this type of question, if you want to clear your prelims. So these are the questions we should not miss out. Now, who among the following, next question, this is from your medieval history, so I have taken from each section. I have taken from each section, one from ancient, one from medieval, and one from modern. So this is from the medieval history. The question is, who among the following rulers of medieval Gujarat surrendered due to the Portuguese? So again, this is also a factual question. This is also a factual question. So if you know, you know it. If you don't know, you don't know, right? So if you would have studied well modern history, definitely the medieval history, definitely you will be able to do this question. So this is a transition, you know, from medieval to modern we were shifting, because with the Europeans coming to India, we were transitioning from medieval history to modern history. But modern history more started with the English coming, and particularly with the 1757 Battle of Plassey. That is where we call it more a modern history period. with the British having the rule, they started ruling over the country. So it was, the answer was Bahadur Shah Jafar. So during 1530s, this entire event took place, and during this period, Bahadur Shah Jafar has surrendered due Daman and due to whom? To Portuguese. It was Bahadur Shah. So option is C. So again, this type of question, if you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. But then again, if you would have read the core material which I have suggested, definitely you will be able to solve this question. And this is from, I hope you, from the options only you will understand. This is from your ancient history. This is from ancient history. Ancient history. So look at the question. Souls are not only the property of animal and plant life, but also of rocks, running water, and many other natural objects not looked on as living by other religious sect. So this is something I believe that it's an easy question. Again, if you would have read properly the NCERT books and developed a good conceptual clarity, you will be able to write, you will be able to mark this question correct. So actually I have picked the easier questions. So above reflects one of the core belief of which one of the following religions of ancient India? Buddhism, Jainism, Saivism, Vaishnavism. Now, it is Buddhism, Saivism and Vaishnavism. There is a distinction between living and non-living creature, right? So rocks, running water, they are what? Basically non-living, which are considered by another religion. But it is Jainism. It is Jainism which consider that soul is not only in living beings but also in non-living beings. They have an extreme form of concern for everything in the world, not only living thing but also non-living things, because they believe that soul is present in everything, even in non-living things. So it is something which is very, very distinct of Jainism. So the correct answer is Jainism, right? So again, if you would have read it properly, your concepts are clear. Even this question, you will be able to mark it correct, right? So we have discussed the prelims questions, and also I want to, since this session is about both prelims and mains, concentrating on history. So we have discussed in general GS paper 1 what is the syllabus, and then we concentrated on the history sections from the prelims point of view and the mains point of view, right? So I have discussed in mains what is the syllabus and the prelims what is the syllabus, and also I have discussed the study materials you will have to study for your prelims and mains, right? So now look at this question in this 2024, very recent, this year mains itself. They had asked these two questions. Estimates the contribution of Pallavas of Kanchi for development of art and literature in South India. So this question is from your art and culture section. The next question, look at that. What are the events that led to the Quit India movement? Point out its results. So this is part of your modern history question. And comparatively, this question is easy because we really study so much about the Quit India movement. I mean, the entire modern history, which is more relatable, more easy to remember also. But the first one is also not that you can't attempt, but because if you would have studied really well, even the ancient history properly, and the art and culture which I have suggested, the NCERT, you will be able to write the answer. At least that yes, the Pallavas were the one who started the Dravidian type of structure, Dravidian type of structure. They were one of the most powerful kingdom in the South India, isn't it? The Pallavas, then you have Pandyas, Pallavas, Pandyas, Cheras, and then Cholas. The Cholas, obviously, they were the most powerful in the South India, but the Pallavas were also one of the very prominent kingdom in South India. And you have to locate on map that where they ruled and all. And what is their contribution? So contribution from the point of view of art and literature, isn't it? That's what the question is about, art and literature. So art, you can mention about the very famous Ratha's temple at Mahabalipuram. That is very significant contribution. Even if you would have studied for your prelims, still you will be able to write at least these points. And then in literature, you can mention about they had significantly contributed to the development of Sanskrit and Tamil literature, particularly by the patronage of Mahendra Barman, Palarula Mahendra Barman, and Narasimha Barman. So they have highly patronized literature and development of Sanskrit and Tamil literature. You can, may remember one or two their work. And this is how, if you mention, it's 150 words, easily you will be able to cover. Right? The Quit India movement, I think it's quite simple questions, very straightforward and very easy. What are the events that led to the Quit India movement? So, you know how the Second World War happened and the kind of 1939, the Second World War, and the reverses India was facing, and without the permission of Indians, they were being embroiled in the Second World War, which the Congress was very unhappy. And to seek the support, the Cripps mission was sent, and the Cripps mission also failed to fulfill the kind of aspirations of the Indians. With the failure, immediate was the failure of the Cripps mission. Immediate was the failure of Cripps mission that led to the ignition of the Quit India movement, and that is how in the 1942, the Quit India movement started, and that is what you have to mention, 1939, and the World War II started, and the Britishers made India a party to the war without consulting the Indians. It was infuriated, and the Congress ministry resigned against that. To seek the support, Cripps mission was sent, but the Cripps mission also failed. Failed, and immediately after that, the Quit India movement was launched. Then point out its result, that what resulted. So once the Quit India movement was announced, obviously there was no looking back, and people were very adamant that we want freedom, we want absolute freedom from the Britishers. And after that, you see the Royal Indian Navy and INA trial, Royal Indian Navy, and finally your cabinet mission plan, and then we had the independence, right? So this is how the Quit India movement, you can say, was the last major national movement, and which resulted in independence, isn't it? Because there was no looking back. After we have already decided that you quit, we wanted the Britishers to quit. Earlier we had non-cooperation, civil disobedience and all, but we were not very strongly that we were asking the Britishers to quit. But once the Quit India happened, we cannot go back, isn't it? We wanted independence, and finally we had in 1947, right? So this is how you can write this answer. So with this, I think I have covered very, very exhaustively on Indian history from the prelims point of view and the mains point of view. You got a general idea that, you know, what I have to study, what is there in prelims, what are the syllabuses there in prelims, what is the syllabus in mains, what are the sources and study material we have to do, isn't it? So just have a recap of the entire session we had. So these are your ingredient of GS paper 1 in that is history, culture, geography and society. And in this we have more concentrated today on history. Tomorrow we'll be coming up with the society part, which is in your mains with some mains questions, and also we'll look geography from the prelims and mains point of view, and also we'll look some questions also, including what material you have to study. Just like today what we have done for history, we'll be doing for society and geography tomorrow. So this is what about the society which is there in your mains, and then geography we just discussed the syllabus a bit. Then in prelims we more concentrated on the history today. This is the weightage of history in prelims. And then the sources of study material I have discussed in a very exhaustive manner, that which you should give more importance, what are the more important study material and all. And these are, so there are so many books, I have kept it very minimal, which you should study. And how you should study and what you have studied, that also we discussed. And then we discussed a few prelims questions from ancient, medieval and modern 1 month, so that just to show you that what type of questions are coming. And then we discussed here the mains questions of 2024. So with this, I am winding up the session. You have any queries, put it in the chat box. We will resolve it. Thank you. Keep learning. All the best.